Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between, welcome to another episode of the Chaps Chat Cats, a part of the Hoops Crew Media Network. My name is Jake, and I'm joined in the virtual studio by the one and only Mr. Johnny Larkin. How are you, Johnny?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Yourself?
Can't complain, and if you did, no one would listen anyway. Everyone's got
Not
that
at
one
all. No one
work
would complain.
you come and go, how you going? Oh, I can't complain. And no one had listened anyway. On the show tonight, we've got Cats v Kangaroos, the round 2 recap. We're going to get into that. A quick thank you, and that is to our wonderful media network sponsor, Cyril Cook Florist. They've jumped on board for the AFLW season and the men's finals and into 2025. You can go to the website www.cyrilcookflorist.com.au. That's cook with an E. Give them a buzz on the phone 035 222 2244. Or if you would like to avail yourself of a 20% discount in store, go on over to their location at Shop 12 11 Leather Street in Breakwater and tell them the Hoops Crew sent you. And if you say that in store, you get 20% discount off your next flowery purchase. So big thanks to Cyril Cook. But Johnny, we won't spend any more time at the business end of the show. What we're going to do now is jump on in to our Cats v Kangaroos AFLW round 2 recap. Sambo will join us in the not too distant future. But let's get a wriggle on here, Johnny. We were up to Arden Street Oval to take on a side that we have not beaten in the AFLW, full stop. Have never done it. So this is how it unfolded for you. So we had the Cats and the Roos. The Roos got on the board first, a goal to Talia Randall after 11 minutes and 10 seconds. A behind to Ash Riddell. Extended North's lead. The Cats got a behind their first score of the day to Shelley Scott. The Roos, another behind just before quarter time. That made the lead 1-2-8 to 1 behind at the first change of end. Now, Geelong had 2 goals on the board in that first quarter that were wiped away by free kicks. They were disallowed. Some amount of controversy there. I'll admit, I didn't get to see the first quarter. You know why? Because I was under the impression the game was at 3:30 and it started at 3:05. So I turned the TV on at about 20 past, and there was 2 minutes left in the first quarter. So I was cursing myself there. So the second quarter, the Roos got on the board again with a behind, wasting a few chances. The Cats got their first goal on the board by the boot of Darcy Maloney after 5 minutes and 9 seconds. The Roos would take control of the game seemingly. They got the next 3 goals via Bella Eddy, Tess Craven, and Ash Riddell. The Cats had some chances in there too, behinds to Gabby Featherston and a couple rushed. That left Geelong down 1-4-10 to 4-4-28 at the half. I was a bit frustrated at half time. Geelong probably playing into North's hands a bit, wasteful in the forward half in how they entered forward 50. But to their credit, Geelong came out, kept doing the things well that they had been doing and improved on some areas of concern. They kicked the first 3 scores of the third quarter, a behind to Michaela Bowen, a behind to Kate Sermon, a goal to Aisling Maloney, another goal to Aisling Maloney a few minutes later, and suddenly the game was back down to that sort of 1-goal margin. Going in at 3-quarter time, it was North 4-5-29 to Geelong 3-6-24, and the Cats took the lead, John, early when Nina Morrison goaled, a sockered finish, did the job. North hit back via a goal from Kate Shearlaw after she copped a punch to the head as Meg McDonald tried to spoil a ball down inside the defensive 50. The Cats hit back, though. They got level, not in front, level by the boot of Michaela Bowen, an absolutely ripping snap around the body in the pocket. And that would be the final score. Both teams had chances inside the forward 50 late, Johnny. They got it up their respective attacking ends, but no one could find a winning score. And that meant that this game, when the siren sounded, ended in a 5-6 36 to 5-6 36 draw. What were your takeaways, Johnny?
Just quickly first, I was going to mention it earlier. Sounds like your mic's not working on my end.
All right, I will do something about that. You continue
All right.
talking, Johnny, and I'll sort it out at my end. Cheers.
Nice. So I thought I'd wait till all that was done. First thoughts. Yeah, it was definitely a really frustrating game. One that I thought we could have won. We probably should have won that game after the domination that the Cats showed throughout most of the game, like leading. I think it was clearances. Let's bring up the stats. Yes, its clearances were basically even. They had two more center clearances we dominated, and in stoppage clearances they were just a little bit ahead. And just around the ground we looked a lot better than what North Melbourne were. So it was very frustrating that we just weren't able to take those opportunities or kick it inside 50 that bit better than what we were. Just those entries are still probably the one thing of the Cats games that's letting them down the most. Is just not being able to find a target or simply just dropping some simple marks inside 50, which cost us big time. And then those two goals that weren't goals hurt us a lot as well. Like that second one probably was there. The first one, yeah, that was very frustrating because it was like just kick it, and just took 1-2 steps too many, and then it was called back, and it sort of put a bit of a dent in the Cats' progress from there, and the Kangaroos got a bit on top. But overall, I'll take the draw because it's better than a loss. It's probably what at the end we deserved a draw, not a loss. I don't think we deserved to lose that one because they played so well throughout midfield and defence. It was just that forward line just wasn't able to connect with the midfield as well as it probably should. Ashley Maloney's just not starting off the season. I don't think the way she would like. Maybe the pressure of being the number one forward is maybe just getting to a little bit without Chloe Shear there. Parry's doing some really good stuff, like tackle machine inside that 50, brought the pressure. Like everything they did is what I wanted to see. The one thing I wanted to see was Cats bringing the pressure on, not letting the North Melbourne use the ball and get it out the back and get those sneaky goals, which they did. The Cats absolutely stopped them getting those easy goals out the back. Every goal North got was hard work. But also every goal we got also was really hard work. And really we should have won this game by maybe 3 goals if we just executed going inside 50 that little bit better. But overall, a very frustrating loss. Not loss, draw. But one you walk away going with, well, it's 2 points. 2 points could be a big thing down the track. And we held North Melbourne, the team that smashed last year's premiers, to a draw. So, one hand, it's really frustrating that we couldn't get the win that we probably should have gotten. On the other hand, we got a draw against one of the top teams who smashed the premiers, who looked like against Brisbane looked so much better than other teams going around. So it's a bit of that bittersweet feeling of going, we should be pretty happy with this result, but still not. There's still a lot of work to do, especially in that forward line. Just getting those kicks inside 50 that bit better, not kicking into an outnumbered player, and not just looking for the tall target either. That's one thing. The Cats got a bit predictable going to Ashley Maloney a bit too often. There is a few other players in that forward 50 that probably were in better positions to get an easier mark, easier shot at goal. So, yeah, as I said, overall, pretty happy, but also pretty frustrated that we couldn't get that win.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how my sound quality is now, if it's fixed at all. Does it sound better? Is it improved?
Much better.
Fantastic. All right. So I think for me, this was a really mixed emotions kind of game. I was really, really bitterly frustrated at halftime. I just felt like it was a replay of every other game we've ever played against North Melbourne, where we actually did outplay them in a lot of areas. You know, Amy McDonald was sort of off the chain again, had a bunch of disposals, a bunch of clearances. We were tackling pretty well. We were actually defending like relatively, well as well. But, um, I just we were letting ourselves down in the forward half, basically, is what I was sort of noticing happening. And that was exactly what we talked about couldn't happen on the preview pod. We were just saying, you can't, um, you just can't kick to that North Melbourne defensive structure.
Mm.
You can't kick long and aimlessly. And yeah, if you are, your forwards are going to have to work overtime to make sure they spoil it to ground because they've just got so many people down there. I mean, I've got to improve my pronunciation. Apparently, it's Emma Carney, not Emma Kearney, according to the commentary team. So, you can't
Cairns.
let Emma
Cairns.
Carney and yeah, it's Rachel Carnes, Emma Carney, just dominate and mop up down back. And I just felt like we really fell into it again in the first half.
Mm.
We did so many things right. And then it just felt like you're in a nightmare, really, again, where so much goes right and you think, oh, we're right in this. And then they kick 3 goals to end the first half. And you're just like, oh, we're close again, but we're going to, we've learned nothing, essentially. That was my sort of vibe going in at halftime was I was really happy with some areas and then just very frustrated with what was happening inside the forward
Mm.
half. There's some examples. I wrote down timestamps to go back and have a look, but there were so many examples of just like, we've won the ball, we're streaming, through the middle of the ground, and we just kick long over the head of a wave of our players who, are around us or leading up at us, and to a 3-on-1 outnumber where North just take that mark and rebound. So I was really pleased with the second half that the eyes got lowered. The 2 goals Aisling Maloney kicked were off the back of really clever kicks from
Mm.
from Jackie Parry, who, could have blazed away from the edge of 50 to put it to the top of the goal square. She didn't. She just chipped a kick straight to Aisling Maloney, who marked it, went back and kicked a goal. I can't remember the exact player who kicked the one to her the second time coming out of the middle, but again, it was a ball where that they lowered the eyes and hit her up. Now it was a long kick, but it was a raking kick, and it was to her advantage, to the space where she was leading. And Geelong just looked transformed when they did that. And likewise, the goal that Nina Morrison kicked in the fourth quarter came from some chaos footy where Geelong kept it at ground level and were just soccering it on. And Aisling Maloney ended up soccering it through to the advantage of Nina Morrison, and Morrison ends up finishing it with a soccer as well. And I just thought that when Geelong smartened up how they were going about things in the forward half, suddenly we got reward for all of the good work we were doing around the ball, all of the good work that our defenders were doing, playing on their opponents down back. Like I thought Claudia Gunjaka, I thought Anna Rose Kennedy, I thought even Zali Friswell at times when she was doing some work across the back half, they all performed and competed wonderfully. And
Yeah.
we were just letting ourselves down with going down a familiar path. But Johnny, I was so impressed that they made the change at halftime. It's what you want to see from a team, the ability to adapt, and they
Yep.
did.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about this Cats team is their ability to adapt through the game, because I don't think we were able to see that earlier on during the early seasons. They just couldn't adapt to how the other team were playing, but credit to them, they really did adapt and really did learn and change the way they were going about it, especially going inside 50, as you just mentioned, and that defensive work as well. Like they're very standoffish in that first half, not really attacking the player, attacking the ball, sort of letting it come to them and then trying to spoil it. And in that second half, Claudia Gunjaka was just absolute monster. There was no stopping her. She was attacking every every ball, every player she possibly could. It was a great one, but it's a big kick going inside North's 50, and she wasn't going to be able to get there to spoil it or grab a mark, so she's just booted it out of the 50. Like that is
Out of
clever
the air.
thinking. Out of the air, like, it was, and it wasn't, and no one marked it. It was one of those kicks that, when it's soccer, when you're just going for the soccer and it goes high and loopy, and it's 9 out of 10
Mm.
times it lands in the opposition's hands. This one, she just like tilted a foot so it wouldn't loop. It would go skidding across the ground outside of 50, and just gave the Cats time to set up and readjust, and also gave her time to readjust herself. Yeah, the defensive efforts in that second half were really, really impressive. Like the way they just like, we're not attacking enough, we're not being assertive enough to win this game. They really stepped that up and brought that running power, that handball power, the kicking ability as well. Really stepped up. Like some of those kicks from the boundary to inside 50. Oh, not inside 50, sorry, to the corridor. But just exquisite, perfect kicks that really opened up North Melbourne. So there's a lot of positives for the Cats to take out of, but also it's still just that last bit of the dominoes still not there. It's just inside 50. Still a lot of work to do. It may clear up once Chloe Shear comes back, but hopefully before then they work it out and able to string a few games together to get a few wins, because getting a draw, yes, it's better than a loss, and it's a good way to launch into the next couple of games away from home. But knowing that the win was there for the taking and they just couldn't grasp it, they'll be burning them a bit down in the stomach as well. There'll be a bit of rage and frustration, just going, if only if all those ifs. But being a professional team they are, being the Cats team they are, it'll be like, let's not dwell on the ifs. Let's just work on the things that we can work on, and the kicking inside 50 is one that they can work on, and just making sure they don't get it and blast it away, going inside 50, because it's just, as you said, the Kangaroos were just set up for that. Like, there was that classic one, Gabby Featherston got a really good mark, could have taken the time to tee up a player, and then just kicked it inside 50 directly to a North Melbourne player. It's like, oh, if only he'd taken that breath to look and pass it up, could have ended up in a goal. So yeah, as we said, frustrating, but lots to learn, and we still haven't beaten North Melbourne. But at least it wasn't another loss.
Yeah, and it's hard. You don't want to be like too negative, but I definitely
No.
came away feeling like, like, there's a few people and out there who are sort of saying, they're happy enough with, we've grabbed 2 points on the road at North, and I agree. I prefer it to a loss, obviously, but there's just a big part of me that this clash frustrates me so much, because there are so many areas I just look at Geelong and go, we are the better group of players. And to me, the problem is that, North Melbourne have a really, really well-developed system that they employ. It's absolutely terrible to watch, in my opinion. I put up a tweet, Johnny, that I stand by. I said, North Melbourne are that annoying person that you play like at Wednesday night table tennis or something, who, what they do, is, they just plop the ball back over the net all night with like crab grip or whatever you call it. And it's nothing particularly threatening. It just plops back over, but it doesn't matter how hard you hit it or how much spin you hit it. They just lob it back over the net, and eventually you shit the bed and muck it up and hit it into the net or hit it wide, and you end up losing in straight sets. That's what it's like to me watching this North Melbourne side. Like, I just go, they are so frustrating, and we just need to work out a way to beat them, because this is going to be a
Yeah.
team that we're going to come up against in finals, at the pointy end of the season. Assuming that we get the job done and get there, that this is the sort of side we're going to have to come up and play. They're a real knuckleball kind of team, and credit to them. That's their identity, and they stick to it. But I suppose that's the bit that's frustrating to me is that's the identity. We know it. We're just, a trio of podcast bozos from Northeast Victoria. Like we're a million miles from Geelong. We know what it is. We know what North Melbourne's identity is and what they want to
Yep.
do. The Cats know what North Melbourne's identity is and what they want to do. So yeah, I was frustrated with that first half, and I do feel like we
Yeah,
should have had more from that game. I'm really glad
definitely.
that we can take away the second half as a big lesson learned. And I just hope that we replicate that in the first half next time we play them. Because honestly, I think if Geelong, if you look at that second half, Johnny, the Cats outscored North in the second half, 4-2 to 1-2. If we're up like that at halftime against North, I think we close them out in the second half. But again,
Yeah,
we've let them get on top early and dictate the
yeah,
terms. And so I think if we start strong in one of these games, we might just surprise ourselves and run away with it. But um, interesting. Just
yeah.
talking about. Sorry, you go, John.
No, I was just agreeing with you. Yeah, like if as I said, there's all those ifs. If only Becky Webster didn't take those 2 extra steps. If only um, Jack Shelley Scott just let go of that Kangaroos player that second earlier. Could have had 2 goals, but as I said, those are ifs that in the moment it's hard to judge, especially when you can't see the ball being released. So they'll look at it, they'll work on it. But those 2 are the 2 big obvious ifs of 2 goals that we missed. But there's plenty more in that first half where we should have had goals. At least we could have at least kicked 3 or 4 goals in that first quarter alone.
Did you think that the free kicks were there? Because as I said, I didn't really get to see them.
Um,
Did you think both were valid enough?
Letter of the law, yeah. I think that second one is that one's definitely there. You see that paid 9 out of 10 times that it's a free kick for when you're tackling someone, they get rid of the ball, and then you sort of do that sling action. That
Mm.
was there. I think they're running too far. It's always a tough one. Like to mine, when I was watching it, I was like, "Oh no, she's run too far." And as soon as the umpire blew the whistle, it's like, "Bugger." So, like
Yeah. Okay.
I would say, I thought they were there. Unfortunately, it's hard to find an argument against it, apart from the one of how do you meant to know when a player has handballed the ball away. But yeah, as I
Yeah.
said, to the letter of the law, they're probably there.
Yeah. It's tricky. Um, Uh, I think it's always like, because to be honest, I thought that there was some pretty, and it's hard. You don't want to discuss the umpiring from the perspective of it was awful. Like we say it every week, we put the qualifier out of like, it's an incredibly hard job. None of us have ever done it. I
Yeah,
wouldn't put my hand up to do it. So this isn't from that point of view. All I was just saying is I definitely saw some in the second half as well that I went, well, geez, we got the benefit of that one.
oh yeah,
That was probably a throw, or that was probably, we probably should have been gone holding the ball. So I think it does cut both ways. And all you can really do is, look at what you can control, like the things that you can
exactly.
control. Like I know everyone was incensed last week in the loss to Melbourne, about different umpiring things again, the holding the ball, but we can't control that. We can't control how the umpires are going to interpret, a given situation or a tackle. But we can control things like our decision making, our execution of skill, etc. And I was pleased that Geelong definitely showed an increase of that,
Yeah,
in the second half. Like that was really pleasing. Um,
yeah.
let's
I was
yeah,
just gonna say, as I said, we had opportunities to win this game, and we didn't take them.
yeah,
It's simple fact down to that. We had more opportunities than North Melbourne, going by the basic stats of inside 50s. We had think it was
36 or something, wasn't it?
36. Yeah, 36 inside 50s to 25. So that's 11 more
Yeah.
11 more chances inside our 50 that we had over North Melbourne. So yeah,
Mm.
as much as go, yeah, umpires took away 2 goals from us. It's like, well, by the letter of the law, they're playing by the rules. The rules they've got in front of them. To them, if I was an umpire and I saw that, I'll probably pay them. To be frank, like I'd go, that looks like a free kick to me. Pay him. So it's yeah, you can't just boil it down to some calls that may have cost us the game. Blah blah blah. As a matter of fact, we squandered chances that we had.
Yeah. I thought it was definitely impressive that Geelong got back into it. Like,
Yeah,
but to be honest, that to me is kind of a given watching this Geelong team. Like maybe like 2, 3, probably 3 seasons ago, I might have sort of, patted the cats on the head and go, well done for getting back into it and keep fighting. I just expect that now. Like, this was another thing I was speaking to people on Twitter about, the commentators going, oh, it's a really good job from the cats to come up and, get this result, out of this game against North Melbourne, one of the premiership favourites. I was like, damn it, we're one of the flag favourites. That's how I view us. Like, I've got really
yeah,
high standards for this Cats team based on what they've done. We were, a kick away from going to a grand final last year, having played really well up in Brisbane. I'm not here for this kind of sort of just like I'm not saying don't say that they're playing well, but that's the expectation. The
yeah,
expectation for me is that they are talented enough now. This list is stacked enough now that if we find ourselves, we go, oh, we've had a bit of a shocker of a first half here in terms of how we've executed. I just expect that we get ourselves back into the game, and I kind of expect that we're going to come out hard, next week against Carlton and sort of look to rectify what went wrong from the first half. I have really high expectations of this team, and I don't feel bad about that because I think they do as well. And it's having those high expectations that drives you. So yeah, it's great that we got back and got 2 points. Um, but I expected that. I would have been extremely disappointed if Geelong didn't battle back in the way that they did. I mean, that's what, that you might expect, from an expansion side or something. They get
yeah,
hit in the mouth late in the first half and then they just crumble afterwards. Like we're talking about a Geelong team that wants to be, competing not just for finals but for top 4 and silverware. So of course we fought back
yeah.
and got 2 points. Like it's what you're meant to do when you're a contender, to me.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's sort of like I don't think the team would appreciate people going, "Oh, you've done really well. Good job. On to next week." They'll be like, "No, we didn't get the win that we came here to get. We want to win."
Yeah.
And I'm the same. I think we've moved past the, "Oh, good job. You're having fun out there." That's the main thing. You're going out there having a
How
bit of
good's
fun.
footy?
How good's footy? It's not
We
social
talked about
soccer.
that.
It's not social footy. It's a
Yeah.
professional league. Every team wants to win. Every team is out there fighting for the win. And
Mm.
yeah, I think it's true for every single team now. It's gone past the having a go. It's now
Yeah.
it's now for real. It's like going, yeah, we're not we don't need the sympathy of, yeah, having a bit of fun, having a bit of a go. It's no, we're playing this game for a reason to win premierships.
Yeah.
And when don't get those wins, it hurts. And when
And
especially when you know the win was there for the
mm,
taking and you just don't take it,
yeah.
that's again frustrating as all hell.
And there was even an article written by Marnie Vanel, just before the start of the season. I think we discussed it on the pod. Where the players are saying, we basically they want, a fair level of critique and analysis of their
Mm,
performances of the game, with the caveat from people who watch the sport. They don't need your grumpy uncle who watches, half a game and says, this is shit. Like they want to be critiqued by people who watch the sport and the league.
Yep.
So I fully understand that, because that's what starts to, it helps to grow and solidify the game. You have people invested enough to want to take the time to analyze it and that sort of thing. Um, and yeah, Cats, they did really well this afternoon in some areas. They did a tremendous job of getting back into the contest after they'd let themselves slip out of it in the second quarter. And then they'll go back and I'm sure analyze, hey, if we'd done this, this, and this a little bit better in the first half, we're walking out of there with an extra 2 points, not a half of the spoils. So it'll be a good
Yeah.
learning opportunity for them. And this is what happens. This is part of the development of becoming a true contender, is you learn to put games away. That's now, if you think about it, we've lost by 2 points at home to a really powerful Melbourne team. And we've now drawn at last year's runner-up. And both games that if you watch, we go, geez, we really could have won those. We really could have done it.
Yep.
So that can be the difference now between making top 4 and just making the top 8, between having a double chance and not having the double chance. You look back and go, a loss to Melbourne by 2 and a draw on the road at North Melbourne. It just makes the path forward to a top 4 just that much narrower, particularly in a shortened season. But Johnny, there were plenty of positives to talk about.
Plenty.
Let's rattle off our votes here, though.
All
I
right.
haven't got Sambo's yet. If he pops in before the end of the W show, we'll give him. But
Just
you
got a
give your
message
one
from
vote.
Sam saying he may not
Oh,
be able
yeah.
to get on
All right,
at all.
no worries. Well, let's rattle forward then. So one
Yep.
vote for you. Where did you put your one vote?
Where did I go with my one vote? I'm going Michaela Bowen with my one. Just another really tough as nails Michaela Bowen game, and got us that goal that got us to draw. Just again, talk about not taking your chances, but also having the luck not going our way with Michaela Bowen, with a snapshot that bounced on the line, went straight up, like straight up on the line, and then
We
goes
had
through.
2
Like,
of those in this game.
2 of those. How does that happen? Like one of those goes through, we win the game. Like it's not. That's one thing of skill, not taking your chances, and then the other 10% is luck. Like football, you need luck. I've said it all year. It's not just about skill. It's not about umpires giving you more free kicks or crappy free kicks or free kicks that advantage you or 50-meter penalties. There's also a thing called luck, and luck is such a big part of this game. And the Cats just didn't get it twice. Like I couldn't believe it how it just bounced straight up in the air, and they were able to not even to concede a point. So really frustrating from the Bowen that she should have had 2-3 goals at least.
I
But yeah,
know.
another classic game by Michaela Bowen. Absolutely invested in the hoops after coming over from the West Coast Eagles. So really glad she's a part of this team and absolutely thriving and dominating midfield, forward line, defensive pressure. Everything she does is just exquisite.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'll just let you know my 2 votes. Just because it's the same player, I went with 2 votes to Michaela Bowen. And then I'll
yeah.
give you my one. But I just thought while we're talking Michaela,
Nice.
yeah, I thought she was tremendous yet again. I thought she was one of our better players last week. She didn't make my votes last week, but I still thought she was one of our better players. And then this week, she comes out for the Cats, and just trying to bring up her stats here. My computer's not being agreeable. Has 19 disposals, 4 tackles, 3 clearances, kicks, as you said, 1 goal, 1. And I just thought, again, just showed a really good performance in multiple aspects of her game. Really hard tackling. She's a really physical player. She's also a really clever player, in terms of bringing her teammates into the game once she's got the ball. And then the finish, in a pressure spot, there was only a couple of minutes left. on the clock, and Michaela Bowen, just snaps on half a chance in the forward right hand pocket, like an absolute ripper of a goal. I think I named her in our season preview as the player I think who by the end of the year we might go she was the most improved, which is a
Yep.
massive ask given how good she already was coming into this year. But through 2 weeks, I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like she's gone from a very good player to a player of incredibly high impact for this team, getting big goals on big occasions in big spots. So, I gave my 2 votes to Michaela Bowen. I gave my 1 vote to Zali Friswell. She almost got in my votes
Nice.
last week. She has done some power of work, I imagine. We talked about it last week. We didn't actually recognize her at first. She's just added
Yeah.
some, just this extra muscle and strength, and she really looks transformed out there. I think she's just not getting knocked out of it in the contest as much. She's able to physically compete that much harder. She just looks that much more confident in all of her skills, really. She was our second leading player in terms of if you just sort things by AFL fantasy points, but that was 18 disposals, 5 marks, which was good for equal team high, 6 tackles, which was equal second most with Kate Sermon. I really liked the game of Zali Friswell, and she's turning into just such a reliable player for the Cats. And
Yeah.
she's added, strings to her bow. She's always been a reliable outside player, and she did get a lot of uncontested touches in this game. But I think just that extra strength just means she's going to be able to win more of the footy and stand up in more contested situations. Who did you have as your 2 vote, John?
My 2 votes. I'm going with Claudia Gunjaka. As I said, that second half of hers was saved us many times in that defensive pressuring and defensive work of just attacking the ball, getting there first, or not giving up on an opponent, not giving up in a contest, and as I said, getting that soccering boot out of the defensive 50. Just another really crucial game, and the first half probably wasn't the best, but that second half she really turned it around and turned into a player that we remember from last year, where she just was relentless in the pressuring, relentless in the marking, into intercept possessions that she got. Was it she got 9 intercept possessions, which is equal high. Score involvement, 2 contested marks, a free for the Cats, 1 free. Bring up the what did you 11 disposals, 4 marks, 2 marks, sorry. So just a really impressive game, especially in that second half where I thought she really stepped up and proved what a great defender she is, and what a great move it was to move her from the forward line to defensive back position, because she's thriving, and that second half was a game saver on many levels, I thought.
Yeah, for sure. I thought she was excellent and was very close to my votes. I don't think I had her in my votes last week either, but yeah, she was very close again. She played really well. Some of her positioning and marking in contest was really great. Where did you go with your 3 votes, John?
It's a tough one. It was a tough decision to make, this one.
It's tricky, isn't it?
It's so tricky. Who gets the 3 votes? Well, it's the obvious choice. I mean, what a just ridiculous game this was by Amy McDonald. She had, at one stage, I think it was 13 clearances from the 19 clearances the Cats had. Like, that is just... She has... Like, what can you say about Amy McDonald that hasn't already been said by us? She's just an insanely good player. Like, just her... Like, 27 disposals, 17 were contested. That is... but, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you can say about it that hasn't been said. She's just an absolute freakish player. And such a... But yeah, it's hard to go past her when she has this much of an impact on a game, and every single time she's out there, she just has impact. Like, yeah, I'll just say Amy McDonald because, of course, it's Amy McDonald. She's an absolute freak and a superstar of this club.
Yeah. No, well, look, there's no suspense as to where I'm going with my 3 votes. It's Amy McDonald. She is absurd, really. It's just so consistent.
Yeah,
27 touches, that's 8 more than any other Cats player on the ground. 13 clearances, that's 10 more than the next closest Cat on the ground. She had the 4th most tackles for Geelong. She went at over 80% disposal efficiency. She's an absolute
oh,
genuine star of the game and deserves
I just
every bit of praise that she gets.
I just clicked on the season average for Amy McDonald. She's averaging 27
Mm.
disposals. She's averaging 14 kicks, 13 handballs, 7 tackles, 11 clearances, averaging 351 meters and 84.9% time on ground. Hang on, I'll get the advanced. What's the disposal? That's right. Amy McDonald, 72.7 out of 2 games. Disposal efficiency is it's just that consistency. That like yes, it's only
Yeah.
2 games, but having 2 games of that high standard is just ridiculous.
Oh, insane. It is insane. She's far and away our best and most consistent player.
Yeah.
And yeah, on a day, like I said, she had 10 more clearances than the next closest
Yeah.
Cat. And Nina Morrison and Georgie Prasparkas are exceptional players. So it just shows how good Amy McDonald is. She's
Yeah.
just the model of consistency. Just quick, so yeah, she gets our 3 votes. I think she literally got 3 votes from all of us last week as well. So far, I'm assuming Sambo gave her the 3 as well. I haven't got his votes yet for this week. So she's got 12 from a possible 12 when it comes to us,
Yeah.
or 18, whatever it is. So, Johnny, just before
Yes.
we get out of the public part of this show, just one player each, and I'll let you go first. A player who didn't make your votes, doesn't even have to have been close to your votes, but just a player maybe, have you got a note on someone that, maybe you like how they're developing, or a new skill that they've added, or maybe they just did a few things that you liked? It doesn't, as I said, it doesn't have to be a vote getting sort of performance
Yeah.
or anything, but just maybe just a little player note for us to leave us with a little positive after dinner mint.
I'm just gonna go with Gabby Featherston. I thought she's doing pretty well in the ruck. She's competing for such a short ruck
Mm.
player. I think that the development in that area is looking good. She's tough. She contests. She's not afraid of
Mm.
jumping into the opposition and
Mm.
putting her body on the line. And then that follow-up work is developing really well. Yeah, she had that one blunder in the game where she just rushed that kick inside 50. But apart from that, she had a pretty solid game, and I'm really enjoying watching her use her ability in the ruck and then able to just outrun the opposition ruck and make it as an extra player around the ball. So she's not doing a whole lot of the ball getting or kicking the ball or whatever, but she's
Mm.
just making that option. She's just getting there and having a small impact. And I can see her definitely having a big impact in the next few years when she really does develop her overall skills. Sort of like a Mark Blixevs.
Mm.
She's like becoming that little Mark
Yeah.
Blixevs type player, and I'm really enjoying the way she's going about it. And she looks strong. Like she looks skinny and sort of not very muscle bound, but I tell you what, she's got some
Mm.
strength about her.
Yeah, definitely. And she was one who had a really good campaign at times in the VFLW this year. I watched her
Mm.
quite a bit. I watched all the VFLW games, so it's more a question of when she played. I watched her. And you know, she played in the ruck a little bit this year again. The first time I'd seen her do that was the season before. I believe it was the last game of the season against Williamstown, maybe, where they threw Gabby Featherston in the ruck, and I thought, gee, there was something to like, you know, about what Gabby Featherston did in the ruck there. I was just trying to see what her numbers were like in this year's VFLW. Yeah, so she only managed the 3 games this year. She played round 1, then was out till round 9, played round 11 as well. Yeah, she did show a bit, um, at times, and I think from memory, she picked up an injury after round 1, and that's why she was out a couple of months, before she came back and just played the 2 games right at the end of the season. So, no, I think there's a lot to like about Gabby Featherston. And there's a lot of potential there. Probably just
Yeah.
developing a little more slowly than some others, but everyone's on their own sort of pathway. I'm going to talk about Anna Rose Kennedy just quickly. Probably one of
Nice.
the
Yeah.
lesser spoken about Irish women. I reckon she is going to be an absolute gun for the Cats. Something I liked watching her today was, and even last week, and it was funny, she sort of copped a bit of flack last week, but she was really good, I thought, today reading the flow of play. And the other thing that stands out, you know, that was obviously something that popped when you watched her play Gaelic football was, you know, she was very much that sort of field general of like being able to read the play, you know, get an interception and then start and get involved with all those linking chains of possession through the middle of the ground. Good distributor. Um, but something I really like about her is that, you know, she's got a bit of height about her, but also like really, really athletic. She's an
Mm.
easy, fluid runner, and I just saw her sort of, I don't know, like she was not bodied out of the contest much today. I thought she played really well one on one with her direct opponent, and I think she's got a really, really exciting upside at the Cats, and it'll just be about now unlocking that over time. But I think they've got another good one there from County Tipperary and Anna Rose Kennedy.
Yeah, definitely. Like some of those little moments she had throughout the game was
Mm.
just crucial. Just a few little things she did here and there were really impressive, and I could, yeah, absolutely see why the Cats went and got her. She's going to be a star of the future.
She actually had 5 intercept possessions, which was third most for the Cats. Now her
Yeah,
disposal efficiency's got to come up a bit. We know that.
yeah.
Like she's adapting to a new shaped football. But I think
Oh
that
yes,
will happen. And I think once it does happen, it's gonna be to the Cats' tremendous benefit. So yeah. All right, that will do for the public part of the show. We're going to duck now and do some Patreon chat. We're going to have an early look ahead to the Blues, but more just as well, just the next few games, how we, you know, sort of what our hopes and expectations are for how the next, say, month and a bit will fold out for the Cats AFLW side if they're going to, you know, really make a serious push for the top end of the ladder, and a double chance in finals, etc. So we're going to have a chat about that. But thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast app so we just pop up in your feed. Um, Consider starting that 7-day free trial over on Patreon. And until next time, go Cats!
go Cats!